Today about the greatest figure in the Bible, Moses. He's the greatest figure in the Bible. He's responsible for Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, which means he's responsible for Adam and Eve. He's responsible for Abraham. He's responsible for Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth. He's responsible for Jacob, Isaac, Ishmael. He's responsible for the 12 tribes, Joseph. He's responsible for all of those because the book that you find majority of them characters in is Genesis, which was authored by Moses. Okay, so none of them, there's no other books that ever talk about Adam and Eve, or Noah, or Ham, or Shem, or Japheth, or Abraham, or the 12 tribes until Moses writes Genesis. So Moses is the most important figure in all the Bible, in all the Quran, in all the he's even because without Moses, you could not have no characters, not one. Muhammad is standing on Abraham. Yeah, he's standing on Abraham. The characters in the Quran come out of the Bible. All of it was authored by Moses. If you take away Moses, you don't have no Judaism, no Christianity, no Islam. You have none of that. You have none of that. And so we talking today about Moses' education in Egypt. That's right. And people, if you want to know the verse, all you had to do, there's a quick biography of the life of Moses in the book of Acts. In the book of Acts, that sums his life up in like a few verses. So you ain't got to go and it show you that Moses lived to be 120 years old. That the first 40 years of his life he lived as an Egyptian. Matter of fact, we're gonna read it for you. You know, matter of fact, we're gonna read it for you. We're gonna read it for you. Here we go. Acts 22 now. Acts 22, you can go there, and it says, and Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was mighty in words and in deeds. A lot of people say, oh, this is, what is this doing? Why is SETI exposing this information, and what will it do for you? Because you niggas need truth of our history. We don't have to go through no other man's religion. Why would we have to come through the back door of a religion that just stole the concepts from our ancestors when we could just be ourselves? We don't need nobody to teach us about God. We are God. Our ancestors showed that we were the image of God. And so if we knew this and we knew that we were the manifestation of God and knew that we are the chosen, not based on we are the chosen in our own ancestral spirituality, why would hundreds of millions of black people on this planet be going through the back door as a prisoner? You are a prisoner in another man's religion. You have to abide by his rules and regulations to get to God. So what they have done, because you don't understand your divinity, you don't understand your destiny, they want you to continue to be a prisoner. They want you to continue to be a slave in their religion. We got to wake you up out of that. We got to wake you up out of that. So you can aspire to be the God and goddess that the ancestors, that the cosmos intended for you to be. Is that right? Okay then. So now what it says in Acts 7:22, it says, and Moses was learned in all the wisdom. Didn't say some. No, sir. It didn't say he was learned in some of the wisdom. It says Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was mighty and in words and in deeds. See, now that's critical. That's critical. Because it's saying that gave him morality. It says he was mighty in words, that he could speak powerfully. You see? And in deeds, that means that his character was mighty, that he was, he walked in the light of morality. Yeah. He had to flee up out of Egypt because once he come into the knowledge of him being an Israelite, he felt the need to murder one of Pharaoh's soldiers. This is his downfall. The first 40 years of his life, that's right. The first 40 years of his life, he lived as an Egyptian. But then when he began to adopt the poison, you see what I'm saying? He began to act poisonous. And so that's what happened. Now, this is a story now. Now, this is not meant for you to take the story, to be actuality. This is a parable, which we understand that. Okay, but once you peel back the parable and you peel back the allegory, you see that the bottom line is that the Bible, the Quran, and all of that come up out of ancient Egypt. We don't want to dive in a swimming pool that ain't got no water in it. So that's why I'm explaining it only to get you to get back to ancient Egypt. Okay, I'm not trying to dive in a swimming pool that ain't got no water. We already understand that. Okay, Moses hit him, but he kills Pharaoh, so now we getting too much off into the allegory. Yeah, but he kills Pharaoh's soldier and he flee. And he flee. And oh, it's all good, family. It's all good. It ain't no problem. It ain't no problem at all, man. Appreciate you being here. Real talk. Yeah, keep me on my toes. Keep me on my toes. You feel what I'm saying? Shit. Hey, you can troll long as you're respectable. You feel me? Hey, I like it. Keep me on my toes. Challenge me. That's what I need. I need a brother like you. You see what I'm saying? That's right. I need you in the house. But anyway, let's keep moving now. Because so we understand where he got his education from. So when you get to seeing all these similarities, then if he was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and then we get to seeing Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and then we see Osiris, Isis, and Horus. It ain't no coincidence because you already understood the Holy Family concept. See, so there is no room for coincidences here. Now, what's key why Moses is important because understanding again that Africa is far older than the Bible. See, a lot of y'all jump in the swimming pool without no water, meaning y'all go straight to Genesis. Genesis is not the first book of the Bible. Exodus is the first book of the Bible. Moses is the author of Genesis, and so you cannot put the publication before the author. So you have to start in Exodus where Moses was born. There is no Genesis in Exodus. See, I want you to understand what I just said. Moses is the author of Genesis. Okay, but Moses was born in Exodus. So how in the hell can Genesis be older than Exodus when Moses is not born until Exodus? Okay, so you have to go into Exodus first. And when you go into Exodus first, you will see that when Moses was a baby, Egypt was already ancient. But if you go into Genesis, they're going to contrive this lie that Sumeria and all of this is more ancient than Egypt. See, that's where the lie come in. You see, so we have to put this shit in chronological order. And when you understand, Moses lived to be 120 years old. The first 40 years of his life, he's an Egyptian. The second 40 years, He was in the land of Midian, which the brother brought up. Why did Moses flee? Because he killed Pharaoh's soldier. So right there showing you it was already a law against murder before Moses, based on the allegory parables of the Bible, Moses wrote the Bible. He wrote the Torah. We understand that. Most people not gonna go for that though. We went over that yesterday. We know that the Bible is the product of the modern world. We going by the allegory that the Bible is based on. Okay, so based on the allegory and the parables of the Bible, Moses is the author of the first 5 books of the Bible. But we understand that there is no Bibles that go back to the alleged time that Moses supposedly lived, that the publication of the Bible, the Torah, is a modern publication. We understand that. But a lot of people is not going to let you, you got to go through another door. That's why you got to have a master teacher that could get them through that door so they could accept that. But if you drop that down on them straight from the chronology of literature, they not going to accept it. Okay? So you had to get them through the door of the allegory, the parable first, and then they can accept, they will begin to accept other realities that they, have not been taught thus far. They will begin to at least consider it. But if all they know is the Bible, ain't no way you gonna be able to tell them, oh, well, the Bible is the publication. And we know that. That's because we done been through the door. We done been through a few doors of education, Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Ivan Van Sertima, and Colin Muhammad and all of that. But if you ain't never had them teachers, you're not gonna go straight to the chronology, which hurt. It do hurt now. It hurt now. It hurts hard when you show them that there is no publications for thousands of years. They don't have publications. And we're going to talk about that in the upcoming. But what I'm trying to show people is that the Bible, even inside of the Bible, that Africa is thousands of years older than anything in the Bible. Go inside of the Bible and prove it. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're doing today. But anyway, I appreciate y'all out there, family. He's the greatest. Not only is he's the greatest of the Hebrew prophet, he's the greatest figure in Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. If you remove Moses, it would collapse. He's the first one because Moses wrote Genesis according to the Bible. God commanded Moses to write the Torah according to the Bible. Yes, we know it's allegory. But you have to go with that first and break it down. You know what I'm saying? So understandably, Moses gave birth to Adam and Eve. He gave birth to Noah and Shem and Ham and Abraham and Isaac and Ishmael and Jacob and Isaac and the 12 tribes and Joseph. He wrote Genesis. There's no other book before Moses writes Genesis that speak of any of them characters. That's what make Moses the most important figure because he gave birth to all them other characters. They did not give birth to him. And so that includes Muhammad, that includes all of them. They bow down to Moses. Moses is the most important figure in all of the Bible. Period. 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 He's the cornerstone. Moses is the cornerstone, and he got his education in Egypt. You better wake up. You better wake up. We be black, family. We just getting started today. If y'all want some fire, man, go over to Patreon. That's where you can get a lot of them 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, deep lectures on this where we go in and show all the receipts. See y'all in a minute, family. General Seti, Etsy, One Stop, KingSeti.com. Boom. Let me do it with this. Boom. Black power.